Yo Gotti's brother, Big Jook, has been killed in Memphis. First condolences to Yo Gotti and his family. Sad situation, man. Gotti's brother has been part of Yo Gotti's life for a while, and he's been somebody that's helped Yo Gotti be where he's at in his life right now. So sad situation there. Condolences to them. I did cover the Yo Gotti versus Young Dolph beef. In covering that, which is the video Yo Gotti versus Young Dolph, what really happened. In covering that, I got more well-informed on the history between Young Dolph and Yo Gotti. And we, as the public, I don't think we'll ever know how deeply rooted this beef is. And I'm talking significantly deep, like deeply rooted, like very deep. Like this has so much street ties to it, so much street stuff that nobody will, unless somebody just comes out and snitches, nobody's going to know the full details of this. This was not a rap beef.
On the scene.
Damn.
According to the cops, it was a targeted hit and not just a random shooting. But right now,
It had to be. If they got him right after the funeral, bro. They know exactly who they was looking for.
A white Ford Explorer with tinted windows leaving the area, but the cops don't have any suspects in the case yet. Big Jook and the other dude.
No suspects and no license plate. Nigga, the cops don't really be doing that anyway, bro. Niggas in the streets, they most likely already know what happened, who was involved, you feel me? Niggas talk, you feel me? So, cops probably wasn't gonna solve it anyway.
Who got
Nigga,
shot?
whoever did it, they probably gonna get caught up with eventually, bro.
Had just left the funeral for Jook and Gotti's uncle, Eric Bovan, aka Las Vegas Eric. Eric was a big-time hustler back in the day who allegedly ran a massive drug ring that Gotti and Jook's aunts were affiliated with.
Most people think Yo Gotti's brother getting killed was the end of this story. It wasn't. What happened after Big Jook got dropped exposed a chain of events nobody was supposed to see, and the full picture is darker than the headlines ever showed. It all traces back to a decision Young Dolph made around 2014. Yo Gotti, who had been building CMG into the biggest label operation in Memphis since the mid-90s, reached out to Dolph about joining the team. Gotti saw exactly what he was, an independent artist with real street credibility, a growing fan base, and paper route empire built entirely on his own money and his own sweat. The offer was real. The cosign would have fast-tracked everything. Dolph acknowledged that himself in a sit-down with Ebro on Hot 97. He said Gotti might have been the first one to come to him about merging paper route with CMG. He said he knew the partnership would have sped up his whole process. And then he said he couldn't do it because he had too much of his own money and his own time invested in what he'd built. That one decision set off everything that followed. By 2016, the tension had moved from quiet friction to public provocation. Dolph dropped an album called King of Memphis. In a city where Gotti had been claiming that title for over a decade, the album name was not a coincidence. It was a statement. Then came the diss tracks. Dolph dropped Play With Yo Bitch in February 2017, called Gotti out by his government name, made personal allegations, put a Gotti lookalike in the video. Black Youngsta, one of Gotti's signees, had already been escalating, filming himself armed in Dolph's South Memphis neighborhood, dropping shake some directly aimed at him. And then it stopped being rap beef. In February 2017, somebody hit Dolph's SUV in Charlotte, North Carolina with over 100 rounds. The truck was bulletproof. Dolph walked out untouched and got on stage that same night and performed. Then, in September 2017 in Hollywood, he got shot outside a shoe store, survived again. Two separate attempts on his life, both tied to the same static, both failing to take out a man who seemed like he had cheat codes. But nobody beats the game forever. On November 17, 2021, Dolph pulled up to Makita's homemade cookies on Airways Boulevard in Memphis for his annual Thanksgiving turkey drive. The same thing he did every year, showing up in the neighborhood, giving back to the city that raised him. Two men in a white Mercedes pulled up and opened fire. Roughly 22 shots. Dolph was killed inside the shop. No security, no entourage. Just a man doing what he always did, being present and accessible because that's who he was. The people's champ, right up to the end. Cornelius Smith, one of the two triggermen, eventually took the stand and described it without emotion. He just got out and started shooting. He said he and Dolph had no personal beef. He needed money for his drug addiction. A hired gunman strung out on perks. That's who they sent for the man who had survived 2 previous assassination attempts and built one of the most respected independent operations in Southern hip-hop. The question the whole city wanted answered was who gave the order. Prosecutors pointed straight to Anthony Mims, Big Jook. Yo Gotti's older brother, and the man described as the number 2 at CMG. Shelby County prosecutors laid out in the 2024 trial that Big Jook put a $100,000 bounty on young Dolph's head, 40 bands to each of the 2 shooters. 20 bands to Hernandez Gowen, the alleged middleman who prosecutors said organized the whole hit on Jook's behalf. But the money wasn't even the only incentive. Prosecutors said the shooters were also promised a recording deal with CMG, murder for money, and a record deal. That's what Dolph's life was reduced to. Here's the part that turns the stomach. Smith testified that after he and Johnson carried out the hit, they called Big Jook. His response was essentially, "I'll get with y'all later." No immediate payment. No acknowledgement of what they'd just done. Just stall. And Smith's eventual payout? He testified he only received $800. Not $40,000. $800. That's the gap between what gets promised and what gets delivered when you're the person doing the dirty work for people higher up the chain. Big Jook never saw the inside of a courtroom for his alleged role in ordering Dolph's murder. On January 13, 2024, he was shot and killed outside a restaurant in Memphis's Hickory Hill neighborhood. He had been at a repass for a relative, stepped outside for a cigarette, a white Ford Explorer with tinted windows pulled up, and it was over. He was 47. Police described it as a targeted assassination. As of mid-2026, no arrests have been made. The case remains open. Hernandez Gowen, who prosecutors said organized the murder plot on Big Jook's behalf, stood trial in August 2025. The state's star witness was Cornelius Smith himself, the confessed triggerman who had already helped convict Justin Johnson, the other shooter, who received a life sentence. Smith testified directly tying Gowen to the conspiracy. The defense attacked Smith's credibility, arguing a cooperating witness reducing his own sentence by pointing fingers isn't reliable testimony, and offered an alternative explanation for the phone contact between Gowen and Smith. The jury deliberated about 3 hours total. Not guilty on all charges. Gowen walked out free. Gowen's own take on why he was charged while Big Jook wasn't during Jook's lifetime is blunt. He said he thinks he was singled out because he didn't have the resources Big Jook had. When your brother runs a label backed by major distribution deals, prosecutors calculate differently before bringing charges they might not win. Which brings the whole story to the question everyone keeps circling. Yo Gotti, Big Jook was CMG's number 2. Big Jook allegedly ordered the hit. Big Jook is now dead, which means he can't be prosecuted. But CMG still exists. Gotti's name is on every contract and every royalty check flowing through that operation. People online, including commentators like Whack 100, have been loud about theories involving RICO charges or federal investigations connecting Gotti to the broader conspiracy. Here's what's actually confirmed as of mid-2026. Yo Gotti has not been arrested, he has not been indicted, he has not been charged with anything related to this case. There are zero credible reports from any legitimate news outlet confirming new legal action against him. The speculation is coming from YouTube thumbnails and social media commentators, not from prosecutors or federal agents on record. What isn't disputable is the body count surrounding this entire situation. Dolph is gone, Big Jook is gone, Justin Johnson is serving life. Cornelius Smith took 20 years in a plea, Hernandez Gowen beat the charges at trial. Multiple additional deaths have been loosely connected to the broader feud in the years since. All of it traces back to a declined record deal. A man choosing to bet on himself instead of signing with the biggest operation in his city, and that choice costing him his life because someone couldn't accept the rejection. Dolph said something in that Ebro interview that has been repeated everywhere since he died. He said his team had morals. He said they were kings. He said they handled their business with integrity. And Ebro, a man who has interviewed every significant rapper of the last 3 decades, said he had never heard anyone express that so plainly and proudly before. That was what made Dolph different and what made Memphis love him in a way that went beyond the music. The street that used to take him to the cookie shop is named after him now. Paper Route Empire kept moving after losing its founder. Key Glock kept recording. The community kept showing up for his memory. Because you can replace a name on a label roster. You cannot replace the person who was buying property in the hood, mentoring young people, feeding families every Thanksgiving, and showing every kid in South Memphis that independence was possible without surrendering to a bigger machine. That's what a declined record deal in 2014 eventually cost Memphis. Drop a comment. Do you think the federal investigation into CMG ever leads anywhere? And is there any version of justice in a case like this that actually feels complete?